You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession.
This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Zinget Solutions, Imaging Services, Posture Screen, Universal Tractioning Systems, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, Bax Max, Chiro Thin, Rhino Coaching Systems, Chiro Moguls, 5-Star Management, The Goodman Factor, Mahalo Wellness, Chiro Health USA, Local Gold, and Go Get Talks. Let's hustle.
Jim Chester here. I have Pete Goldman with me today. He's coming in from San Francisco, California, which is the Bay Area. And I am coming in from the Mile High City today, not Grand Junction. I am in Denver, Colorado today, coming to you live. And today, Dr. Pete and I, we're going to talk about his seminars that he has coming up. He has one coming up in San Diego, one coming up in LA, and then he's going to be dropping it over to Europe soon too. So we'll talk all about what Pete has going on. And we might talk a little bit about how I've been hustling new patients into chiropractic offices across the country here, Alaska. I don't know. We just crushed it up there. But Dr. Pete, welcome, man.
Thanks, Jim. I know you haven't done an interview in a while because you've been so busy helping chiropractors fill their offices up. So I'm honored that I'm the first one back. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, with you, I honestly, I think you always have something really fresh to share with our community just because you teach chiropractors how to have more certainty. And I believe that that's one of the things that really lacks is a self-esteem in this healing profession.
You know what amazes me? I just want to chime in right off the bat on that. You know, I mentor, my Zone School of Healing has almost 400 students at the moment, on the way to tens of thousands. And a lot of things have surprised me as I've started it, but one thing that surprises me is when chiropractors who are in the Zone School now, who are very successful, even before they met me, some chiropractors that had offices seeing, 300, 400, 500 a week, they say to me, Pete, but how do you really get the certainty? How do you really, even in yourself, believe you can help patients with XYZ? So again, when I started the Zone School, I started it because I wanted to teach chiropractors to get amazing, amazing healing results way beyond what they were getting. And it was just interesting to me that even a lot of the very successful ones, and I say successful as far as numbers and things like that, even before they met me, really had not too much deep down confidence about what chiropractic was capable of. So I'm glad you mentioned that about certainty.
Yeah, and as I've gotten to know chiropractors, I know that that's one of the things that happens is they get rah-rahed up as they go through the education process, and they mean a whole lot to that institution while they're in school. But as they get that diploma and walk across that stage, it's usually like an oh shit moment. Like, wow, I have to go out here and figure out how to open doors. I have to figure out how to get into a lease space. I have to figure out how to buy something or become an associate. So the self-esteem gets kind of shot because back in school, you live off of those loans. And then once you start that practice 6 months out, you're like, oh, wow, the loans are coming in. I don't know how to get people in my office and what's next. And that's when they lose their whole vibrational tone with actually being the healer. Now they have to put on that I'm the businessman or businesswoman hat.
I'll even add to that. Like you said, in school, they have a certain amount of, like you said, rah-rah about what's going to happen, and then they graduate. And that's a separate conversation. I think you're very accurate. I would even add to that people who go to things like, and good things, these are only positive, but things like DE or CalJam or the Wave or whatever they're called. And they get into this, rah-rah because they're surrounded by hundreds or thousands of fellow chiropractors talking about how amazing chiropractic is. And they go back to their office that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even for 2 weeks, and they're in that high vibration. But that vibration starts waning because if there's not enough substance behind it and it's just more of the rah-rah, then you kind of need that boost. Then you look at your calendar. When's the next DE? When's the next CalJam? Whatever. But if you have certain knowledge, none of that matters. And in the Zone School, I teach you that knowledge.
Yeah, I'm going to come back on with you here. As I've also realized, though, that some of these events, it's really good for the fellowship because it's important to get that vibrational frequency of like-minded people. And I know that that's something that you do with your Zone School is you bring people in like-minded. Some of them might have been in practice for 2 years, 20 years, 30 years, and they come in and they realize how quick it is to learn what you do and how fundamental it is and how it's deep rooted, seated in the first chiropractor systems. And I think that so many times when we go through the world, as I do, I asked people last night, I was in an Uber ride and I was telling this girl that, we run the world's largest chiropractic podcast. And she's like, wow, that's awesome. I went to a chiropractor and she's a 21-year-old girl. And she goes, I am not opposed to investing into my health. I am not opposed to investing into my partner's health. She's like, I would rather have a healthy life right now than what my quote that I posted today is. It's better to invest in your health today than to pay for sickness later. And she's like, I love the chiropractor because number one thing, they don't do drugs. And I see so many of my friends that are on some type of psychotropic drug or some type of mood stabilizer. She goes, when I get adjusted, I just feel better. And the other part of this, Pete, is a lot of times she also told me I went to one chiropractor that I felt like he didn't know how to adjust. She goes, I also popped into this place called The Joint, and I felt like this guy was not certified to take care of me and my significant other. So I'm not throwing stones at anybody, but I know what you do teaches people how to have that certainty in what they do.
Well, put it this way. On a physical, first of all, what's interesting is if you look at the evolution of chiropractic, let's start with D.D. Palmer, because no one has the right to define chiropractic besides him. I mean, he's the founder. So what D.D. Palmer said about chiropractic is the beginning and the end of that. Now, people can talk about it, give their opinions, etc., but D.D. Palmer defined chiropractic. And if you look at 1910, he wrote a book. It was called The Chiropractor's Adjuster. And when he wrote the book, if you're familiar with the name Chiropractor's Adjuster, he didn't call it an adjuster to show you how to adjust. He said he was going to adjust the minds of the chiropractors, because from 1895 to 1910, in those 15 years, chiropractic got so scattered even from what he founded. So let's just look at this. Of course, chiropractic doesn't treat disease. Of course, chiropractic doesn't diagnose disease. Of course, chiropractic doesn't treat symptoms. We get that. He said people had dis-ease because they were subluxated. And he said that when you relieve subluxations, dis-eases go away. So if you look at his book, this is important, Jim. If you look at his book, The Chiropractor's Adjuster, there's a 55-page glossary. It's not a glossary. I don't know what. I guess he doesn't call it glossary, but it's listed like a glossary. 55 pages of diseases with their symptoms and the bone to adjust to fix it. So that's chiropractic. It says freaking, whatever. You just think of a disease, asthma or some disease of the uterus or the thyroid or whatever, and listing all types of. I mean, he even has freaking STDs in there, and he tells you adjust this bone. This is the cause. We don't treat symptoms. We don't treat disease. We adjust causes to make the body healthy and make these go away. Okay, so people will come in. In fact, if you look at some old advertisements from DD and even BJ Palmer, they list the diseases. Like, do you have this severe stomach problem? Come get adjusted. We'll adjust your T8 and you'll have great digestion. Your stomach will heal. And they were listing testimonials of severe. I remember one, I think it was from BJ or DD, but I saw it for sure. And someone had some severe stomach disease. And he's like, oh, I adjusted T4 or T8 or whatever. And their digestion was healed, and this organ was healed. So that's chiropractic. Now, I don't know what happened along the way. I'm not sure when someone took that, because that's it. There's really nothing to talk about. That's the founder. Someone took that and then decided we can't discuss symptoms with patients. Now, if you have a practice where you don't discuss symptoms with patients, I don't care. Have a nice life, and good luck to you and your patients. But it's not chiropractic. It's something else, which is, I don't know if it was Reggie Gold. I don't know. I have no problem with Reggie Gold, but I'm just saying, I don't know where it veered off to, hey, we can't discuss symptoms, because that's not chiropractic. I already said what D.D. Palmer did. He listed all the diseases. He even told you which direction. Epilepsy, adjust T9 spinous right. So that's the foundation. Now, of course, you have to be aware of what comes out of your mouth, because you're living in 2019 And there's certain things that as a DC you're allowed to say and not allowed to say. So you have to take that into account. With that said, most chiropractors these days, even when they go to a CalJam or a DE and they're super psyched up about what chiropractic can do, they'll say things like how they really are nervous system doctors, etc. But you go in their office and 99% of the people in there on the entrance form have written down that they're there for neck and back pain. So what does that tell you about what's going on? Now, you might say, well, my patients come in for neck and back pain, but I tell the chiropractic story. They start understanding that chiropractic is great for wellness. And of course, also, if you're practicing long enough and you adjust enough people, you're going to say, wow, this person, they came for adjustments and their digestion healed, their sinuses healed, their reproductive organs healed. Of course, over time, that's going to happen. But still, on the entrance form, why am I here to see you? 99% neck and back pain. Now, in my office, Jim, you've been in my office. In my office, 80% of the people coming in and writing why they are there to see me, they're coming for their gallbladder, their liver, their uterus, their thyroid, their immune system. People write down they have 3 autoimmune diseases. That one person who was diagnosed with 3 autoimmune diseases. These are chief complaints. Now, of course, when it comes to neck and back pain, if you understand the zone technique, nothing gets better results with musculoskeletal than the zone technique. I have people flying into me from 20 different countries, and many of them come from musculoskeletal. But I'm just saying, when someone says, Pete, what is the zone? Is the zone school? Is it revolutionizing chiropractic? Is it changing chiropractic? No, this is chiropractic. And I have Dee Dee Palmer's book to show it to you. This is chiropractic. Now, one more thing I wanted to say, because you mentioned one thing before, about the different types of people that join the zone school. Jim, it's pretty cool, and you alluded to this before when you said 2 years, 30 years, 25 years. I want to just comment on that. The great thing about the zone school is I have some people, like, for example, let's take Pinnacle. Pinnacle is a very successful group of chiropractors in the profession. They do high volume. Some see 600 a week, 300 a week, 500 a week, whatever. Very successful guys and girls who are in this Pinnacle group. And if I'm not mistaken, it costs a lot of money just to join Pinnacle. So you're probably doing pretty good even to join it. I have about 15 Pinnacle doctors in the zone school. About 5 of those are co-owners of Pinnacle. And they tell me, these are the co-owners of Pinnacle. I'm not going to say anyone's name. I don't think they care. But anyway, I'm not going to say anyone's name. Some of the co-owners of Pinnacle telling me, Dr. Pete, I've been in practice 20 years. I already see, 600 a week. I'm very successful. I have learned more about healing in the last 2 months in the zone school than I learned in 20 years of practice. So we have the Pinnacle docs. Then I have the docs who are like, Pete, I was practicing 15 years. I was ready to hang it up. I was going to start selling freaking real estate because chiropractic was just not working for me. And now I can't wait to go to work now that I'm in the zone school. Or I have this one guy, his name is Dr. Rick. I don't think he'd mind me mentioning his name. He's in Indiana, great guy. He practiced for about 38 years, very successfully, very, very successful chiropractor. He told me this. He said, Pete, I was going to retire, not because I was frustrated, just because I practiced for 38 years. It's enough already. But now that I'm in the zone school, I want to practice another 20 years. Then, this is where it gets even better, Jim. Then I have docs in the zone school who tell me, quote, I'm not making this up, Dr. Pete, I was high-level high-level chiropractic neurology, high-level functional medicine. I was even an instructor of these things, one of the most renowned people in the world on these subjects. Now that I'm in zone school, I spend 1/10 of the time with a patient and get 10 times better results. These are the high-level functional medicine. And then I have people who are activator instructors, upper cervical docs at a very high level. And once they're in the zone school, they get results they never even, well, I guess they maybe could dream of it at some point, but they get results that they just weren't even getting close to. So yeah. And then the last thing I'll say is the zone school is money back guarantee. So you know what? If someone's listening, yeah, I heard Dr. Pete on the Jim Chester show. The zone school sounded really good. So I signed up. But you know what? I didn't like it. Hey, no problem. It's 100% money back guarantee. It's guaranteed. We don't play any games. You buy on your credit card into the zone school, and then if you start interacting with the zone school and you don't like it, we'll refund you that exact amount on your credit card. I have almost 400 students. I've given 7 refunds. No problem.
You've You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Zinget Solutions, Imaging Services, Posture Screen, Universal Tractioning Systems, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, Bax Max, Chiro Thin, Rhino Coaching Systems, Chiro Moguls, 5-Star Management, The Goodman Factor, Mahalo Wellness, Chiro Health USA, Local Gold, and Go Get Talks. Let's hustle.
Yeah, the things you said there, it really makes sense to me because certainty in your ability to adjust is the part that people come to see you for. They don't come to you because you can do a rock star exam. They want that. They don't come to you because you can verify their insurance benefits. They want that. They don't come to you because you'll give them a consultation phase that they can talk to you about any health concerns under the sun. They come to you because you can adjust them. And that's what I learned with the zone technique is you teach people how to become master adjusters. And it's a skill set that every chiropractor needs. And that's why I become so close to you over the past couple months is because what you're doing is providing a skill set to these chiropractors that need it. And I hear time after time, chiropractors don't know how to come out of school and they don't know how to adjust. They're doing instrument adjusting because they don't have good hands. They're doing this type of thing and they're trying to prove to people that this is what chiropractic is. Well, in my opinion, I grew up in Davenport, Iowa, and chiropractors always adjusted by their hands. And whether it was an upper cervical technique, because I was under Blair upper cervical, I was under Nuka Care, you name it, I was under care. I was getting the Palmer package, I was getting Thompson drops, I was getting side posture. But what they weren't doing is connecting the dots to my organ system. So when I meet people out in the field doing the work that I do, I said, you know why they call it an organ system? It's because it's organized. And you have a spinal column of 24 vertebrae going down it with nerves coming out of there, that when those nerves come out, where do you think those go? They go to your organ system. So if your spine is out of alignment, do you think it's just about pain? Or do you think it's about your nervous system being disorganized? And then I connect the dots for these people.
I just want to chime in there and say, you're talking about really the merit chart, which is just saying like, hey, here's a poster we have in our office, not me, but many chiropractors do. And it says like, oh, C2 goes to the sinuses, L3 goes to the uterus, whatever. And that's true. And that's great. And I love that. The issue is I want to agree with you 100% and then just take it one more step for the chiropractors. Most chiropractors have that chart in their office, but still 99% of the people on entrance form come for neck and back pain. The zones helps you because the zones are saying, hey, for those not familiar with the zone technique, it breaks the body down into 6 systems. The glandular system, every gland in the body. The eliminative system, every organ of elimination, sinuses, lungs, kidneys, intestines, bladder, skin. Nerve system, digestive system, everything that digests and assimilates the food. Muscle system, all the muscles, tendons, ligaments, and circulatory system, all the circulatory apparatus. Every cell in the body is in those 6 systems. So when someone comes to me and on a chief complaint on the entrance form tells me their gallbladder doesn't work, some medical doctor says it should get removed soon, they have triple autoimmune disease, they have IBS, etc., hey, I just say, look, whatever problem you could possibly be having, it's in one of these 6 systems. Every cell in your body is somewhere within these 6 systems. I have a quick way to determine which of these 6 systems needs work and to balance them. Now, also, most chiropractic techniques are spinal cord stimulation techniques, are intersegmental bone moving techniques. The zone technique, unlike all that, is a spinal cord stimulation technique. So I am actually going to teach you how to stimulate the spinal cord. You could use your hands or whatever you want. I only use my hands, but and you're going to stimulate. And of course, chiropractic is the Greek word, like Jim said, for done by hand. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to stimulate certain points in the cord to reset the brain. And then the brain will send the right signals out to the cells and the body can heal. Now, I've said in many interviews with you and many other people, and I don't want to go too into it right now, but the safety pin cycle is basically saying the brain is sending signals down the cord through the nerves to the cells. And if there's subluxations in the spine, then there's an impingement of the nerve and the brain signal will not go to the cells properly. If you relieve the subluxation, the brain will open up the signal down to the cell. Excuse me, the brain can send the signals down to the cells unoccluded. That's cool. And obviously, many chiropractors have had success over the years. Only thing is, if the brain's sending the wrong signal in the first place, who cares that you opened up the signal? The zone technique will make sure that brain centers that are not balanced get balanced. And again, you said something before, Jim, which I liked. You said they're not coming for XYZ, they're coming for certainty and adjustments. I'm just going to add to that excellent comment you made and say, and the very bottom line is they're coming for healing results. Because if someone, check this out, if I'll just give a simple example. Someone has horrible digestion. I mean, horrible. They put food in their mouth that comes right out of their body. They're upset by 10 different foods. They have heartburn, acid reflux, whatever you want to call it. You know what? They would love to come to you, and after a few weeks or a month and a half, they want to have perfect digestion. So I would even go a step further and say, you could be a very good adjuster, like you're a really good bone mover, but can you put that to bed? A zone school student can. Now, by the way, on that note, and I've mentioned this in a couple of interviews, but I want to mention it now. Most MDs, and I think you'd agree with this, Jim, and you're out in the field, Jim, so you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what I'm saying is accurate, and you tell me if I'm okay with this. Most MDs think one of two things about chiropractors. Most MDs. One, I don't like chiropractors. I wouldn't go, and I wouldn't send anyone there. That's one thing some MDs think. And then some MDs think, no, I like chiropractic. I actually get adjusted myself for my neck and my back. And I even, if someone comes to me with neck or back pain, I'll send them to a chiropractor. Those are the two categories MDs fit into that I'm aware of. But you don't see a lot of MDs going to chiropractors for their organs. It's not a common thing. But let me tell you how great the zone technique is. I have multiple, you heard me, multiple MDs who come to me as patients with chief complaints of organs. And here's one. I've mentioned it before in interviews, I think possibly with you. I had an MD come to me not too long ago. Not a holistic MD. I mean, a real San Francisco internist, probably in his late 30s. Very nice guy. Comes in, first visit. I go, hey, what brings you to me? What's going on? He tells me he has three chief complaints, Jim. He has IBS, like straight up IBS. That's what he said, IBS, an overactive bladder, and anxiety. Three chief complaints. And by the way, on a side note, when it comes to panic attacks, one of my best results, anyone who has panic attacks who comes to me so far doesn't have them anymore. And I plan to continue that. But anyway, comes with those three things. He says to me, he goes, I don't really believe in chiropractic at all, but I heard that you get these results, so I'm here. He comes, I explain about the zones. It actually makes sense to him because as an MD, I go, hey, you're familiar with these systems. You can see how if they're not balanced, it would result in IBS, overactive bladder, etc. He's like, yeah, I could see that. I said, when I determine which are not balanced and we balance them, you could see how you'd have great digestion, a healthy bladder, and be calm. He goes, yeah, I do. A month and a half later, perfect digestion, perfect bladder function, and nice and relaxed. That's pretty cool. Then I'll just add one more. I don't know. We have Kaiser in California. I don't know if you have it in where you are, but Kaiser is kind of like a Blue Cross Blue Shield thing. It's in California. So I don't know if it's nationwide, but anyway, it's like a medical whatever. So I have this woman come to me who is a gastroenterologist at Kaiser as a patient. So she comes in and she tells me she's an MD. She's a gastroenterologist. She works for Kaiser. And she comes to me for whatever her deal was. And I go, what brings you to me? She goes, well, I had this patient come to me with horrible digestion. I mean, of course, she's a gastroenterologist. I couldn't help her at all, she tells me. And then she's like, then she comes back 3 months later, totally healed. She goes, yeah, I went to this guy, Dr. Pete, this chiropractor. My digestion's perfect now. She goes, I was so curious. Now I'm coming to you for my own issues. So all I'm saying is this. People can have any kind of practice they want. And if there's someone watching this, they're like, I love my practice. I love it. And you know what? I tell you, don't join the zone school because I have nothing for you. If you love your practice, I'm happy for you. But if you want the kind of practice that I'm talking about, where most of your patients are coming into you for everything under the sun, and you want to have the confidence to help just about all of that, then join the zone school.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is so important. And I'm just going to say thank you to everybody that's been on with us today. If you guys are watching right now, hashtag value, if you're finding value from this, if you guys are watching us on replay, hashtag replay, and let us know what city you guys are watching in from. So vital to talk to our audience when we're doing these things too, because you and I can be in our own echo chamber and talk to each other like this all day long and know our audience is out there. But it's important to have this human element to it. And that's what I think we do really so well together as a team. Um, One of the things I wanted to touch on is I had this veteran that was doing like the security grounds up in Fairbanks where I just was. And he came up to me and he's like, "Thank you for your service." He goes, "I see how hard you're working." He goes, "I know how many people's lives you're going to be affecting." And he goes, he's almost crying to me. He's like, "I just can't stand the opiate crisis." And he goes, "I know that you guys are the answer." He goes, "I see how hard you come here at 10 a.m. and you work until 10 p.m. every day for the past 5 days." He's like, "Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing what you do because it's not about you, my friend. It's about everybody else." And I was like, dude, that just blew me away. This old school grizzled veteran stood on the front lines to keep our country safe, came up to me and thanked me for my service.
I saw that. I saw that post, and that was a very touching post. I love to see that. Now, Jim, because we have only 4 minutes left, because I have a
I
meeting to
know.
go to. But I just want to say this. I mean, time always flies with us. I just want to say about the live events, and I believe you posted it in the comments. I just want
I
to comment.
did.
So the Zone School does have live events. I used to only have them open for Zone School members, but now they're open for anybody. This weekend, I'm teaching in Amsterdam, in Holland. Um, I'm teaching in Los Angeles and San Diego very soon. Jim posted the info. You do not have to be a Zone School member. Any chiropractor is welcome. Click on the links, get the early bird for LA and or San Diego. Come join us. And if you guys know Joe Merlot is a pretty prominent chiropractor in San Diego, very successful. He joined Zone School a few months ago. He's beyond thrilled. Just ask him if you know him, message him. He asked me a few weeks ago, "Hey, Pete, I love the Zone School so much. I'd love to come observe you." He came observe me for 3-4 days in my office in San Francisco. You can ask him what he thought of it. He said, "Pete, would you please teach a seminar at my office?" I go, "Yeah, it'd be my pleasure." So Joe Merlot is hosting at his office in San Diego, the San Diego one. He says he only has room for 35 in his office, and he has like 35 chiropractic friends who want to come. So if you want to get in before that fills up, I do suggest you click on the early bird link as soon as you hear me saying this to get in that LA one. Excuse me, get in the San Diego one. There's also one in LA. You can click on that for the early bird and join us. And I'd love to have you there. And if you just want to join the Zone School today, I'm sure Jim will put up a link so you can actually join the Zone School today. And again, if you don't like it, get your money back.
Yeah, so LA is going to be September 21st and 22nd. San Diego is going to be October 5th and 6th. And Joe Merlot is an awesome guy. I've heard nothing but good things about him, and just love what you guys are doing. I know you just had Auda Tovar down at your seminar down in was it Atlanta?
Ask Ara Tovar. Hey, say hey Ara. That's trying to pronounce her name with a New York.
Auda.
My New York accent is ruining it. You talk to her. She's been around the chiropractic scene, and you go, "Hey, Ara, how's Dr. Pete? How's the Zone School?" She not only attended a live event, she joined the Zone School. You ask her. Ask Joe Merlot, and I'm confident.
Well, I want to close out with one more story. We got 2 minutes. I was also just in Nashville scheduling in a boatload of people, and this guy's name is Jody. He's a sheriff. He comes up to me and almost to tears, and he was telling me about how his mother almost got killed at Vanderbilt because they did a surgery on her and messed up, and then they put her on drugs, and now she's further messed up. And he's like, man, one of these stories, another grizzled dude, he's like probably 55 and his mother's 80. And he's like just almost to tears telling me how messed up this medical system is and how he just wants his mother to be healthy and how he wants other people to know that health doesn't come from a pill bottle and that he sees so many people broken in his community that are on these opiates. Once again, I have a veteran tell me about the opiates. I have a sheriff tell me about the opiates. I have a 21-year-old Uber driver tell me about the psychotropic drugs that people are on. And I always say, you know, it's not us against them. It's just that chiropractic first, everything else second. And I said to them that it's not about what I have to tell you or what they have to tell you. I said it has to be good decision making, and you have to know where to go and who to trust. That's probably 90% of the reason why people fall into medical malpractice. I also had this other guy come up and call what I supported quackery. And I said, okay, I want you to do me a favor and Google search something for me. Go Google search malpractice insurance for a medical doctor. And then you please Google search the counterpart, which are my chiropractors, and find out how much they pay. Now you want to tell me who's hurting people and who's a quack. And I was like, I'll leave it at that, boss. Take a lap and come back when you're ready. But
I like to take a lap. Hey, listen, guys, I'll close that with this. At the end of the day, anyone can come on here and make a great speech, and their technique, upper cervical, CBP, network, zone technique, zone school, anyone can say what they want. But here, let me just put it like this. I have people flying in to see me from 20 different countries. I have 12 people flying in from Malaysia alone. I have 80 people who drive 4 hours each way to see me. Just give it some thought and join the Zone School. You will thank Jim later. You'll thank Jim. Hey, Jim, thanks for bringing the Zone School to my attention. Join the Zone School, enroll early bird for LA and or San Diego, and you will thank Jim later.
And if you guys are still on right now, I know Pete has to go. Hit the share button, hit that heart button. And if you got some value in this, hashtag value. And if you haven't subscribed to Chiro Hustle yet, go over to Chiro Hustle and subscribe to our channel. And just love and appreciate you guys. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. Enjoy the rest of your day, Dr. Pete. And God bless you, man.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, see you.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.